We've got a dilemma here. I'm with Margaret and Brian, who bought their folding Estarlis a year ago at this show here at the SEC, and they're just trying to work out how best to fit them in their van that didn't exist then, but does exist now, or very nearly exists now. So let's get into it. Tell us what bikes you went for here back in the show a year ago.
So we went for the Estarli folding bikes. One of our missions coming to this show last year was to choose our bikes. So we were able to go out onto the car park and try them out, and we chose the ones that we enjoyed riding the most.
Tell us about travels you've been on so far, because I know you've had a lot of fun with them this last year.
Yeah, we tried them out round about our hometown, but then we took them out and about in north of Scotland last year, including a bridge that doesn't exist anymore. The viaduct that went over the Spey washed away in January, and it was quite surreal to see the bridge that we had cycled over lying in the water.
We're in Troon along the prom at the seafront. This was us trying out our bikes for the first time. So mostly we reckon that when we get our camper van, we will be staying in campsites that might not be close to the nearest village or pub. And that's what the bikes are for. But we bought the bikes first and the vans to follow.
The reason why this is up on my screen, because we've got the new Estarli folding bike transport box in the background there. The dramas, the quandary we were talking about is how best to fit your bikes into this van that you're having custom built.
We don't really want to hang the bikes on the outside of a van. We'd rather have the bikes inside, but the type of van that we like, it has a rear lounge, but typically doesn't have a space under a bed to put bikes. So the idea is to put the bikes behind the seating area in effectively a 6 metre interior but a 6.4 metre van, and that's very, very close to the folding depth of these bikes. So you're trying to sneak little inches away from little spaces in the door or underneath the seat. And so we tried to work out precisely what the bikes would take.
So this is a dress rehearsal with a cardboard box that you've measured up?
With a cardboard box, and tried to work out just what size exactly were they, and you know, we reckon that at the end of the day, probably folding them in their bags is as good as it gets, but we were wondering about the new box. It's a difficult question. Because every inch that takes up is an inch off my bed length.